Wide awake at 2:37 a.m. Again. A quietly overworked liver can nudge you out of sleep, stacking fatigue, cravings, and morning fog. Stay for a safe, practical plan to steady your nights without extremes. I used to laugh at how precise my body could be, until it started waking me up at almost the exact same minute, night after night. 2:37 a.m. Not 2:30, not 3 Quan. At first I blamed stress. Then I noticed something awkward. The nights I reached for leftover pizza, a dish of cookies, an oversized XL coffee at 5 p.m., or a late glass of wine after a busy day were the nights I was most likely to spring awake. The clock was trying to tell me something about my evenings. Let's name the elephant in the room in plain language. When I say liver congestion, I'm not talking about a medical diagnosis. I'm describing an everyday situation. Your liver is busy. It's working through sugar surges, alcohol, snack oils, common medications, and the kind of late-night grazing that's incredibly normal in North America. Cereal right from the box on the couch, a bowl of mac and cheese at 10 p.m., a quick drive-through cheeseburger because dinner ran late. A hard-working organ can get overloaded by timing as much as by quantity, and your sleep is often the first to protest. 2 things made this click for me. First, biology loves rhythms. Your liver doesn't clock out at midnight. It keeps processing what you sent it, prioritizing tasks that matter for safety, like alcohol or certain drug byproducts, before it can fully relax. Second, blood sugar stability matters in the background. A sweet snack at 10:30 p.m. can mean a glucose dip hours later. Your body corrects that dip by nudging stress hormones, and those hormones, even at modest levels, can nudge you right out of sleep. This isn't fear talk, it's a pattern you can test. If you've been waking in the small hours, consider a simple 7-night experiment. Keep a tiny sleep notebook. Each evening jot down what time you finished dinner. Any late snacks, be honest, cereal, ice cream, granola bars, orange juice, protein shakes with artificial sweeteners, all count. Caffeine after 2 p.m. Many North American coffees are pretty strong, and decaf isn't zero. Alcohol, what and when. Pain relievers or cold medicines you took. Then note your wake-up times and how easy it was to fall back asleep. Most people start to see cause and effect by night 3. A few gentle adjustments helped me immediately. Set a kitchen closing time. Aim to finish dinner 3 hours before bed. If that's unrealistic with your schedule or family life, try bumping dinner 30 minutes earlier and lighten the volume. Move the sugar earlier. If dessert is part of your routine, enjoy it at dinner, not 2 hours later in front of a show. Add a caffeine curfew. Many do well with a 2 p.m. cutoff. If you're sensitive, push it back to noon. Remember, energy drinks and pre-workouts count. Respect the alcohol window. Keep any drink to earlier in the evening, and never combine it casually with acetaminophen, paracetamol. That pairing increases liver workload. If you're on any medication or have a health condition, check with your clinician. Make the last hour gentle. Dim lights, skip scrolling, and give digestion a head start with a few slow breaths or a relaxed walk after dinner, not a strenuous workout. Here's a piece of honesty that made me feel more in charge, not less. Waking up at a consistent time doesn't mean your body is broken. It means your body is signaling. In my case, it was signaling that my routine, very American, very normal, was stacking the deck against a quiet night. The good news is that small, boring changes often work better than extreme ones. A slightly earlier meal, a glass of water with lemon at dinner instead of a second soda, a pause before reaching for a sweet late-night snack. These are not flashy, but your biology appreciates them. Because we're talking about health, I need to add this. Nothing here replaces professional care. If you notice persistent pain, yellowing of the skin or eyes, unusual fatigue, or if you live with conditions like diabetes, please talk with your healthcare provider before changing eating patterns, herbs, or supplements. Details matter. Timing, quantity, even the way you prepare something can affect how you feel. I promised something special for those who stay to the end. A gentle caffeine-free night cup plus a 5-minute micro-ritual that helped me stop the 2:37 a.m. loop. I'll also point out one common natural mistake that backfires on sleep when you least expect it. I'm not going to rush it here because the how-to, temperature, steep time, and when to use it, really matters. We'll build to that safely. Before we go further, take a breath and imagine a week where your nights feel predictable in the best way. You wake, you feel rested, you can think straight, and you're not relying on a venti coffee and a glazed donut to power through the morning meeting. That outcome starts with paying respectful attention to the small hours signal, not with fear or extreme detoxes. It starts with practical steps you can actually keep. I'll leave you with a quiet turning point from my own routine. When I lined up my evening timing, just by 30 to 60 minutes, and swapped the late sweetness for something simple and savory at dinner, the wake-up time lost its hold. The change felt almost anticlimactic, which is probably why it worked. No drama, just a better rhythm. For your safety and best results, stick with me. The next tip is among the most important, and ignoring it may not only limit your progress, but could also lead to potentially serious side effects if methods or amounts are mishandled. Stay informed and apply each step with care. If you kept a short notebook these past evenings, you may have spotted a pattern already. Nights with late sweets, a second glass of wine at 9 p.m., or that harmless bowl of cornflakes on the sofa often lined up with awakenings in the small hours. That observation is more than an anecdote. It's a doorway into what your body is trying to manage between dusk and dawn. Let me translate the physiology into plain English. Your liver plays air traffic control for a lot of things you absorb or produce. Glucose from dinner, fats from a creamy sauce, alcohol from a happy hour IPA, and the byproducts of common medications. It tends to prioritize what could be risky if left unattended, shunting resources toward processing alcohol and certain compounds, then returning to the rest. While that's happening, your brain is trying to cycle through deep and REM sleep. When the coordination is smooth, you sleep through. When it's crowded, what many people casually call liver congestion, signals spill over. You might not feel pain. You might just wake. Two backstage systems deserve special attention. First, blood sugar regulation. A late sweet snack launches glucose higher than your body needs at bedtime. A few hours later, insulin and cellular uptake do their job, sometimes a bit too well, and your glucose dips. The body corrects this dip by pulling stress-related hormones into the mix, adrenaline and cortisol. You won't feel a rush like a roller coaster. You'll feel a subtle nudge toward wakefulness, a mind that clicks on, or a pulse you can suddenly hear in your ear. In North American routines, the culprits hide in plain sight. Chocolate chip cookies after a sitcom, a healthy smoothie loaded with fruit juice, or orange soda that sneaks in when water feels boring. Second, alcohol timing and sleep architecture. Even small amounts of alcohol in the late evening can lighten sleep in the second half of the night. The liver is busy breaking alcohol down, and the metabolites, plus the rebound in nervous system activity, make awakenings more likely. Add acetaminophen into the same evening, and you increase liver workload in a way that doesn't help anyone's sleep. This is not about blame, it's about respecting the chemistry. Digestion rounds out the picture. Heavy, spicy, or high-fat meals right before bed, buffalo wings with creamy ranch, drive-through fries, a late-night burrito, ask for extra digestive effort. Lying flat too soon can mean discomfort, and even small discomfort is enough to disrupt sleep. A brisk workout late at night can also be stimulating. Your body temperature and alertness may stay elevated long past the shower. So what actually helps starting tonight? Here's a practical, non-extreme plan you can test and adapt. Use the 3-2-1 evening rhythm. Aim to finish dinner at least 3 hours before bedtime, stop alcohol 2 hours before, and dim screens 1 hour before. It isn't perfection or nothing. If your schedule is tight, shift even one of these by 30 minutes and watch what changes. Choose a sleep-friendly finish to dinner. If you like something at the end of a meal, go for savory or gently bitter. Roasted Brussels sprouts with olive oil, a handful of arugula dressed with lemon, or steamed broccoli with a squeeze of lime. These flavors cue your body toward done for the day. Tame the late sweet reflex. If you're truly hungry after dinner, try a small, balanced option within 60 minutes of finishing the meal. A few spoonfuls of plain Greek yogurt with a sprinkle of cinnamon, half an avocado with a pinch of salt, or a small piece of cheddar with apple slices. Keep portions modest and skip added sugar. Many find that simply moving sweetness earlier, at the meal, not after, does the trick. Set a caffeine curfew and scan labels. In the US, large coffees are potent, and decaf can still contain measurable caffeine. Pre-workout mixes, chocolate, and some pain relievers hide caffeine too. If sleep is fragile, commit to a midday cutoff. Guard the alcohol window and mind combinations. If you choose to drink, do it with food, earlier in the evening, and avoid coupling it with acetaminophen later on. If you take any prescription medications or have liver, metabolic, or sleep disorders, work with your clinician on an individualized plan. Move, but softly. After dinner, try a 10 to 15-minute easy walk or gentle stretching instead of intense late workouts. The goal is circulation without stimulation. Create a low-light landing strip. For the last hour, lower the lights, silence notifications, and associate the bedroom with sleep only. A cooler room helps. So does a simple breathing pattern like 4-7-8 for a few rounds. There's also a mindset shift that quietly changes everything. Aim for consistency over intensity. A week of small, steady changes beats one heroic detox day followed by a rebound. If you're measuring anything, measure ease. The ease of falling asleep, the ease of staying asleep, the ease of waking up without a fog that only an enormous drive-through latte can lift. Because we're talking physiology, I'll repeat a safety note. None of this replaces professional care. If you experience persistent abdominal pain, jaundice, dark urine, pale stools, or unexplained fatigue, see your clinician. If you live with diabetes, are pregnant, or take medications that affect the liver or blood sugar, do not change meal timing, alcohol use, herbs, or supplements without guidance. Details, quantities, timing, preparation really do matter to outcomes. Now to the promise I made earlier. I'm going to share a gentle evening ritual and a caffeine-free night cup that helped me quiet the 2:37 a.m. wake-up. Before we get to the exact preparation, take a brief inventory tonight and tomorrow. What one habit are you most willing to shift first? Earlier dinner? A smaller portion? Swapping the late dessert for something savory? Pick one. The win you can keep is worth more than the perfect plan you abandon. When these pieces start to align, lighter evenings, steadier glucose, respectful alcohol timing, and a calmer wind down, the body often rewards you faster than you expect. I remember the first week I tried this. The consistent wake-up faded like background noise, and I woke with a clarity I hadn't felt in months. For your safety and best results, stay with me. The next tip is one of the most important, and ignoring it may not only limit your progress, but could also result in potentially serious side effects if amounts or methods are used incorrectly. Please keep an informed, careful approach. I didn't expect a grocery run to change my sleep. Standing in the cereal aisle, I flipped a few boxes and realized my light bedtime snack had as much added sugar as a small dessert, plus refined oils and artificial flavors that made everything taste friendly while asking my body to do extra work. That was the moment I started looking for the quiet triggers that make the liver busier, right when the brain wants to settle. Once I saw them, I couldn't unsee them, and my wake-ups began to make sense. Here's what kept showing up when I tracked my evenings with the simple notebook. The first silent trigger was timing drift. My day would slide later. Soccer practice, traffic, a late meeting, and dinner followed. By the time we cleared the table, it was 9:30 p.m., and someone would suggest a show. Cue the snack reflex, a bowl of whole-grain cereal with oat milk, maybe a handful of chocolate chips because it's just a few. This is classic North American life. Convenient, comforting, unremarkable. But a late meal means digestion is still active during the first half of the night, and a sugary add-on raises the odds of a glucose dip hours later. Even if you don't feel symptoms, that dip can prompt the body to release stress-related hormones that nudge you awake. The second trigger was sneaky combinations. A glass of wine with dinner, then later a couple of acetaminophen tablets for a tension headache felt normal to me. Separately, used responsibly, each may be fine for many adults. Together in the same evening, they raise the liver's workload at precisely the wrong time for sleep depth. Add a late energy drink or a decaf coffee that still contains caffeine, And you've set a stage where your nervous system is a touch more alert than you intended. No panic, just honest chemistry that deserves respect. The third trigger hid in ultra-processed shortcuts. Shelf-stable snacks, packaged pastries in the break room, frosted breakfast bars, salad dressings and BBQ sauces with added sugars, and fast food sides fried in seed oils that had been used for long cycles. These foods are engineered to be delicious and convenient. They also create a steady background of metabolic tasks, breaking down sugars, handling certain fats, metabolizing additives that can keep your liver busy into the night when evenings run late. The point is not moral judgment. The point is load management. Once I recognized those three themes, late timing, risky pairings, and convenience overload, I wanted a practical way forward that didn't require perfection. Here's what helped me and many others who prefer clear action to vague rules. Start with a 3-night audit and swap. Night 1. Change nothing, just observe. Note the finish time of dinner, snacks, alcohol, caffeine, and any over-the-counter medications. Night 2. Keep your usual foods, but move dinner 30-60 minutes earlier, and stop adding anything after the meal ends. Night 3. Keep the earlier dinner and add one bitter or savory finisher to signal fullness. Arugula with lemon, a few Brussels sprouts, or a small piece of cheddar with sliced apple. Compare awakenings and morning clarity. Rebuild the evening environment. Put a gentle boundary around the kitchen. When the dishwasher starts, the pantry closes. Set a phone reminder at the time that works for your household. If your family loves a sweet finish, bring it to the table with dinner so it isn't a separate event later. If dessert is a non-negotiable tradition, cut the portion by a third and move it earlier. Decode labels without becoming a detective. Scan for added sugars, they hide in syrupy names. Check serving sizes, many packages look like one portion but count as two, and notice caffeine disclosures in decaf, chocolate, and pre-workouts. Swap one item per week, a vinaigrette with olive oil instead of a sweet bottled dressing, seltzer with a squeeze of lime instead of orange soda, nuts or carrot sticks instead of chips after 8 p.m. Tidy up the pairing problem. If you choose to drink alcohol, keep it with dinner and earlier in the evening. If you need a pain reliever later on, talk with your clinician about options and timing. Avoid casual combinations that increase liver workload. This is especially important if you have liver conditions, metabolic issues, or take prescription medications. Individual guidance beats guesswork. Plan for the nights that tend to derail you. Friday pizza? Put a salad on the table first and serve smaller slices. Kids game night? Pack a savory snack so you're not starving at 9 p.m. Late shift? Prepare a lighter, high-protein meal to eat before the shift ends, and a calm routine to land you gently at home. Dim lights, a warm shower, and a few slow breaths. Add movement that lowers, not raises, arousal. A brisk neighborhood loop right after dinner helps digestion without keeping your core temperature elevated at bedtime. Keep the late workouts early in the day when possible. If evening is your only option, finish high-intensity sessions at least 3 hours before lights out, and end with a long, slow cool-down. Here's a quiet mindset change that made the biggest difference. Replace the idea of detox with declutter. You're not trying to punish your body, you're trying to free up bandwidth. A week of slightly cleaner inputs and calmer timing will usually tell you more about your sleep than any extreme cleanse. Sleep is a system outcome. If you lower the noise, the system often hums. A word about safety and personalization. Nothing here replaces professional medical care. If you notice persistent abdominal discomfort, yellowing of skin or eyes, dark urine, pale stools, or unusual fatigue, seek medical attention. If you live with diabetes, are pregnant, or take medications that affect liver function or blood sugar, do not change timing, alcohol use, herbs, or supplements without guidance. Details of dose and method matter, especially in the evening. By now, you've likely spotted at least one trigger in your own routine. That's good news because you can change it. Move dinner earlier by a small step. Retire the late cereal bowl. Trade the after-hours soda for sparkling water with lemon. Choose a savory end to the meal. These are humble moves, but they compound into deeper sleep and clearer mornings, the kind that don't require an oversized drive-through latte to feel human. For your safety and best results, keep going with me. The next tip is among the most important, and ignoring it may not only limit your progress, but could also result in potentially serious side effects if amounts or methods are used incorrectly. Please proceed with care and attention to detail. When my sleep was fragile, the habit that looked the most innocent turned out to be the one that disrupted my nights. It wasn't the big holiday meal or the occasional happy hour drink. It was the small, sweet something I told myself I deserved at 10:30 p.m. A bowl of cornflakes with oat milk, a scoop of ice cream straight from the freezer, or a tall glass of orange juice because fruit is healthy. I wasn't overeating, I thought. I was being reasonable. Except the wake-ups kept arriving right on schedule. Here's what I wish I'd understood sooner, in simple terms. Late sweetness isn't just about calories or even willpower, it's about timing and physiology. When you add quick-digesting sugars close to bedtime, you push glucose up just as your brain starts the slow descent into deeper sleep. A few hours later, insulin and your cells do their job, sometimes a little too well, and blood sugar dips. Your body corrects the dip by nudging adrenaline and cortisol. Those hormones aren't villains. They're part of your rescue team, but they are not sleep's best friends. The result can be a subtle wave of alertness, a racing mind, or a sudden heartbeat you notice in the quiet. You're awake, and you may not trace it back to that harmless cereal bowl. North American routines make this easy to miss. The pantry is full of breakfast as dessert options marketed as smart choices. Granola clusters with candy-like add-ins, protein bars bound with syrups, or fruit smoothies that hide multiple servings of juice. Even chocolate, dark or milk, carries caffeine and theobromine that can stimulate, especially late. Add sugar alcohols in no-sugar-added treats, and you can layer on digestive discomfort that disrupts sleep by a very different route. The goal isn't to ban sweetness forever. It's to place it where your body can handle it better, and to choose options that don't set up a midnight correction. Here's a plan that respects real life and doesn't require perfection. First, move sweetness earlier. If dessert is part of your joy, include a modest portion with dinner. The protein, fat, and fiber from the meal help smooth the glucose response. Make the portion intentionally small. Half the standard scoop of ice cream, a couple of squares of chocolate, or a few spoonfuls of fruit with plain yogurt. If you love cereal, try it at breakfast or as part of lunch instead of as a bedtime treat. Second, create a sweet-to-savory ladder you can climb over 2 weeks. Step 1. Replace the late dessert with a balanced option within 60 minutes of dinner. Greek yogurt with cinnamon, half an avocado with lime and sea salt, a small piece of cheddar with sliced apple. Step 2. Shift to a bitter or savory finish most nights. Arugula with lemon, steamed broccoli with olive oil, or cucumber with a pinch of salt. Step 3. On nights you still want dessert, keep it at the table and finish eating earlier instead of restarting eating later. Third, rethink healthy smoothies. A blender can turn reasonable ingredients into a glucose rocket if the cup is huge and mostly fruit juices. If a smoothie is part of your day, make it a daytime food. Build it with protein and fiber and skip it entirely within 3 hours of sleep. Fourth, watch the hidden caffeine problem. Hot cocoa, chocolate, certain teas, and even some pain relievers contain stimulants. If your sleep is delicate, set a midday cutoff for any caffeinated item and keep chocolate as a daytime pleasure. Fifth, keep portion sizes honest. Many bowls are enormous. Try a smaller bowl and fill it once. Better yet, serve your dessert portion at the table and put the package away. Out of sight at 10 p.m. really does help. Sixth, protect your digestion. Sugar alcohols like erythritol or sorbitol and very high-fiber diet bars can cause gas or cramping that wakes you. If you're experimenting with alternatives, introduce them earlier in the day so you know how your body responds long before bedtime. Seventh, replace the reflex with a ritual. After dinner, dim the lights and make a caffeine-free warm beverage your cue for kitchen closed. I'll share an exact, gentle preparation later, but the key principle is this. Keep flavors light, temperatures warm, not hot, and avoid adding sweeteners. Pair the cup with 10 slow breaths and a quiet page of reading. You'll be surprised how quickly your body begins to expect sleep instead of snack time. To keep this safe and individualized, a few notes. If you live with diabetes, reactive hypoglycemia, or other metabolic conditions, please talk with your clinician before changing meal timing, desserts, or beverages. Your medication and monitoring plan come first. If you notice persistent abdominal pain, jaundice, dark urine, pale stools, or unusual fatigue, seek medical care. Nothing here replaces professional diagnosis or treatment. We're focusing on lifestyle patterns because they're powerful when applied consistently and carefully. Let me offer a simple 5-night experiment you can begin today. Night 1. Keep your usual routine and observe wake-ups. Night 2. Move any sweet item to the dinner table and end all food within 60 minutes. Night 3. Finish dinner earlier and replace late dessert with a savory finisher. Night 4. Repeat night 3 and add a short walk after the meal. Night 5. Keep the earlier dinner, skip all sweets after the meal, and close with a gentle warm beverage without sweeteners. Track your awakenings and how easy it is to return to sleep. Many people notice fewer wake-ups by the 4th night, not because of perfection, but because glucose stayed steadier and digestion got a head start. A final word on mindset. You're not giving up pleasure by moving sweetness into the right window. You're trading a short-lived hit for a more valuable outcome. Unbroken sleep and clearer mornings that make everything else easier. From patience with your kids to focus in a meeting. Real change often feels quieter than you expect, which is why it lasts. For your safety and best results, stay with me. The next tip is one of the most important, and ignoring it may not only limit your progress, but could also result in potentially serious side effects if amounts or methods are used incorrectly. Approach each step with care and keep your attention on timing and preparation details. The smallest boundary I set in the evening ended up clearing the most noise from my nights. After moving sweetness earlier and trimming late snacks, I asked a different question. How can I give my liver fewer jobs and better timing without turning my life upside down? That shift, from perfection to load management, was the turning point. Instead of chasing hacks, I built a simple, repeatable rhythm that made sleep steadier and mornings calmer. Think of this as an evening flight plan. The destination is unbroken sleep. The route avoids turbulence. I start with a rule of 3 that you can adapt to your household and shift schedule. 3 hours, finish dinner. This doesn't require a gourmet meal or a new identity as a salad person. It means eating the main plate earlier and calling the kitchen closed after the meal. If work pushes you late, lighten volume. More vegetables and protein, fewer heavy sauces. If family life pins dinner to 8:30 p.m., aim for 7:45 on 2 nights a week to start. The body loves direction more than drama. 2 hours, keep alcohol out of that window. If you choose to drink, do it with food and earlier in the evening. Then, let the liver finish that job before you ask it to support deeper sleep. Be mindful about combinations. Avoid casually pairing alcohol with acetaminophen in the same night. If you use any medication, live with liver or metabolic conditions, or are pregnant, your clinician's guidance comes first. 1 hour, dim down. Lights, screens, and intensity. This is not about never watching a show. It's about turning down brightness, switching to warmer light, and saving the high-stakes drama for daytime. Your nervous system reads light as a cue, and you want that cue pointed toward rest. Hydration staging helps more than people expect. Big water pushes late at night often mean a bathroom trip at 2 a.m. Front-load your fluids in the afternoon. In the last 2 hours, keep to small sips. If you exercise after work, finish the bulk of rehydration with dinner, not after it. Add a savory stop at the end of dinner to signal completion. A handful of arugula with lemon and olive oil, steamed broccoli with a pinch of salt, or cucumber with vinegar. Go easy if vinegar bothers you, tells your brain, we're done here. In many North American kitchens, meals default towards sweet finishes. Changing that default, gently bitter or savory instead of sweet, quietly flattens the late-night glucose roller coaster. Movement matters, but intensity and timing matter more. A brisk 10-15 minute walk after dinner encourages digestion without keeping your core temperature high. If evenings are your only exercise window, finish high-intensity sessions at least 3 hours before sleep and cool down longer than you think you need. The goal is circulation without stimulation. Now to the sticky spots, the places nights most often go sideways. Crowded calendars. If a late meeting or kids' practice compresses your evening, preload a lighter meal before the event and a small, savory snack afterward instead of starting a full dinner at 9:30. Keep a rescue kit handy, a can of tuna, pre-washed greens, olive oil, lemon, and a piece of fruit. 10 minutes and you're done. Social nights. Enjoy them with 2 guardrails. Eat proactively. Protein and fiber first. Keep alcohol earlier and modest, and end with water and a gentle walk. When you get home, lights low, no pantry trips. The point is to land softly. Travel and late shifts. Bring consistency with you. Carry a small bottle of olive oil to dress airport salads. Choose roasted or grilled options over fried. Set a personal, kitchen-closed time relative to when you'll sleep. 3 hours if possible, 2 if not. Use earplugs and an eye mask to reduce the sensory load you can control. Label literacy without obsession. Scan bottles and boxes for added sugars masquerading as syrups. Note that decaf coffee still contains caffeine. Look for serving sizes that shrink a portion on paper while your bowl at home tells the truth. Swap 1 packaged item per week for a simpler version. The change compounds. A few cautions that keep this safe. Extreme fasting can backfire with hypoglycemia and rebound wakefulness. Apple cider vinegar in large amounts can irritate the stomach. Detox blends may interact with medications. If you have gallbladder disease, reflux, diabetes, are pregnant, or take blood thinners or sedatives, personalize everything with your clinician. We're aiming for steadiness, not heroics. Here's a 5-night drill that demonstrated the power of small shifts in my own routine. Night 1, observe. Night 2, move dinner earlier by 30 minutes. Night 3, keep the earlier dinner and skip all food after the meal. Drink only water in small sips. Night 4, repeat and add the post-dinner walk. Night 5, maintain those steps and dim the house, lamps instead of overheads, warm light instead of blue, and set your phone to grayscale as a visual cue. Track wake-up times and how quickly you return to sleep. Most people don't need perfection to notice improvement. They need consistency. The mini revelation inside this practice is that your liver, digestion, and nervous system want the same thing at night. Fewer inputs, more rhythm. When you line up even 3 of these elements, earlier finish, savory stop, gentle movement, you'll often feel the 2 a.m. signal fade like background radio. You didn't fix your body. You gave it better conditions to do what it already knows how to do. I promised a simple ritual that ties this together, and I'll keep that promise with exact preparation details. Before we go there, pause and pick the single change you'll commit to tonight. You don't need a perfect streak to win. You need a direction and 1 solid step. For your safety and best results, continue with me. The next tip is among the most important, and ignoring it may not only limit your progress, but could also result in potentially serious side effects if amounts or methods are used incorrectly. Approach each step thoughtfully and adjust to your needs. We've thinned out the evening traffic, earlier dinners, fewer late sweets, calm lighting, light movement. Now I want to keep a promise and give you the gentle preparation that helped me end the repeat wake-ups. It's simple, but the details matter. Temperature, timing, and when to use it. This is not a magic tea. It's a cue your body learns to trust. When you combine it with consistent evening rhythms, the signal to sleep gets stronger and the liver gets a quieter shift. Here's the exact safe preparation I use. I call it the quiet cup, and it follows 3 principles: caffeine-free, mild on the stomach, and modest in volume so you don't wake to use the bathroom. Ingredients: 1 serving. 8-9 felahs, 240-270 ml, hot water, below a full boil. 1 level teaspoon, about 0.8 to 1 g, dried chamomile flowers. A thin strip of fresh lemon peel, about 2 inches, 5 cm. White pith trimmed to reduce bitterness. 1 small pinch of Ceylon cinnamon, about 1/16 teaspoon. Optional. Preparation: Heat the water to hot steaming, not rolling boil, about 185-195 degrees, 85-90 degrees. Over hot water can pull harsh flavors. Add chamomile to a cup or infuser. Pour water over it. Add the lemon peel and the pinch of cinnamon. Cover the cup and steep for 3 to 4 minutes. Longer can turn it bitter and may irritate sensitive stomachs. Strain. Do not sweeten. If you must, a tiny drizzle of honey earlier in the day is better than at night. Late sweetness can invite glucose swings. Sip warm, not hot, about 20-30 minutes after you finish dinner and at least 45 to 60 minutes before you intend to sleep. This keeps the ritual clear of late-night digestion and bathroom trips. Important notes. Avoid chamomile if you have known allergies to plants in the Asteraceae, ragweed family. If you take sedatives or have bleeding disorders, use caution and consult your clinician. If you are pregnant or nursing, or have liver, gallbladder, reflux, or metabolic conditions, individual guidance is best. Nothing here replaces professional care. If chamomile isn't a good fit, try one of these gentle alternatives, prepared with the same water temperature and 3 to 4 minute steep. Lemon balm, Melissa, 1 teaspoon plus the lemon peel without cinnamon. Rooibos, 1 teaspoon plus a sliver of fresh ginger, 1 2-inch, 1 centimeter, strained well. Toasted barley tea, caffeine-free, 1 teaspoon, if tolerated, for a nutty flavor that many find soothing. What not to do. Don't add apple cider vinegar or strong peppermint right before bed. Both can aggravate reflux in some people. Don't steep for 8 to 10 minutes for more effect. More isn't better, it's harsher. Don't turn this into a large mug. Keep volume moderate to avoid 2 a.m. bathroom trips. Don't mix the ritual with alcohol or pair late drinks with acetaminophen. Respect the liver's workload at night. Now, the micro-ritual that makes the quiet cup more than a beverage. Think of it as a landing sequence. Step 1. Lights to low and warm. Turn on a lamp instead of overheads. If your phone is in the room, switch it to grayscale and do not scroll. Step 2. 5 slow breaths, 4, 7, 8 style. Inhale through the nose for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8. 3 to 5 rounds are plenty. Step 3. 2 lines in a notebook. 1 thing you did today that helped your sleep, even a small win, and 1 simple intention for tomorrow evening. Step 4. 1 minute of gentle neck and shoulder rolls. Then sit quietly and sip the cup over 5 to 7 minutes, noticing warmth and scent. No multitasking. Step 5. Lights a bit lower, teeth brushed, bedroom cool and dark. Bed is for sleep, not for planning. Here's the bonus I promised from the start. The rule that keeps this potent and prevents the most common mistake. I call it 3-2-1 plus cup. If dinner finished 3 or more hours before sleep, use the quiet cup 45 to 60 minutes before bed. If dinner finished between 2 and 3 hours before sleep, use half a serving, 4-5 Oz, 120-150 milliliters, and keep the steep to 3 minutes. If dinner finished less than 2 hours before sleep, skip the cup entirely. Choose the breathing sequence and low lights only. Adding fluid or herbs late can disrupt sleep. The most common error is to brew a very strong herbal blend right before bed as a natural knockout. That often backfires through nighttime awakenings, reflux, or next-day grogginess. Gentle, early, and consistent wins. Let's put it into a 7-night rhythm you can follow. Nights 1-2. Establish the 3-2-1 rhythm. Finish dinner earlier, no alcohol in the last 2 hours, screens low in the final hour. Add the quiet cup if your dinner timing allows. Nights 3-4. Keep the rhythm and add the micro-ritual exactly as written. Notice wake-up times and how you feel on waking before coffee. Nights 5-6. Refine. If you still wake at a consistent time, check for hidden caffeine and late sweetness. Shorten steep time if the cup feels stimulating. Night 7. Hold the gains. If your week was smooth, keep the plan. If not, adjust 1 variable at a time. Earlier dinner by 30 minutes or half cup instead of full. A few North American swaps that help in real life. Choose seltzer with lime over orange soda at dinner. Replace a sweet bottled dressing with an olive oil and lemon vinaigrette. If dessert is part of your tradition, Bring it to the table with the meal and cut the portion by a third. On game nights or late commutes, keep a simple meal ready. Rotisserie chicken with a big salad, so you're not building dinner at 9:30 p.m. I want to end on a hopeful note. Your body is not trying to frustrate you at 2 a.m. It's asking for cleaner lanes to do overnight work. When you respond with rhythm instead of extremes, sleep becomes less about luck and more about design. That calmer night opens into a better morning, the kind where you don't need a venti latte and a glazed donut to feel human, where patience comes more easily, and where your energy points toward the parts of life you value. If this helped you, share it with someone who keeps waking in the small hours. Leave a like, drop your questions or wins in the comments, and subscribe so we can keep building practical, safe routines together. Your experience adds value to this community. For your safety and best results, remember, the next tip is among the most important, and ignoring it may not only limit your progress, but could also result in potentially serious side effects if amounts or methods are used incorrectly. Please apply these steps with care and attention to detail.